Welcome back to V-Rule. We are definitely in a boom market. That much is true. We've been seeing it with Prismatic Evolutions and Journey Together with the recent release on Pokemon Center for that latest set. Things just exploded. You can't get a hold of pre-orders very easily or for a decent price, it seems, lately. Every once in a while, something will crop up there and you can actually get a hold of it, but it's super rare at this point in time, which means we need to look at how we attack this market. Now, I have a little discussion I want to go into on Sword and Shield and how over time things do take off. And there's an interesting premise to be made that no matter what the boom is today, it's the long term that will be the true value of what these sets are actually going to be. So this boom is induced by a big swath of people coming into the hobby all at once. It's induced by fear of missing out, the FOMO that we refer to. In the industry, in the hobby, in all hobbies, really, there's always this fear of missing out and not having the stuff, the collection, the piece you need and want. Over time, you can build up, and as you go deeper into your own hobby and your own collecting journey, especially with Pokemon, you're going to find a way to refine it and be more accepting of the pieces that are more meaningful to you rather than all of the stuff you are casting out a wide net hoping you'd get. Now, for myself, it's taken years, but I have made my peace with it and become more comfortable with the few items that I really am pursuing. And I can allocate certain dollar amounts to those, and I can be a little bit more forgiving if I need to, should those prices increase before I get my chance to get a hold of them. However, staying steady on the course will pay off. Because while there's scalpers out there grabbing and burning it up and trying to sell to you, that's the bigger problem. The scalpers are one issue. The people who buy it, that's the problem. Don't buy it. The demand goes down for it. And now you're not the sucker paying the high price. They have to lower them. But it's hard to convince an entire market. We are going to look at Sword and Shield. Because it's been away for a while. It's not that it's gone. And it's not that it's unpopular in any way. But we're going to take a look at what it means over time. What do these different pieces, sealed and even single cards, mean over time? So let's dive in. We have the Evolving Skies booster box, and you're going to find a real quick pattern here in my video today. But I just wanted to take a look at it, just the last year snapshot we can look at. All right, a year ago, $473 for a booster box. That was an exciting number to see because it had been out of print for some time, and for the fact that a year's time between $473 and now the chart's saying $1,200 almost, but reality is saying something different. I think we're looking at the $1,390 is the real price because that's what's available. This makes more sense, and looking back at a year makes it a little bit better that you see this steady trend upwards. If you tighten that up, it just looks a little too dramatic. If you look right here of a month, do we see a month? No change? What? No change over a month and 3 months? Come on, TCG player, you got this. It looks even more dramatic in just the past few weeks. Not a lot of sales, but the few sales that happen, the seller gets to decide what they go for. Because the few sales that are happening in this kind of price range, fewer people are going to want to get it, which means they're going to hold it if they got it. You don't have your average YouTuber or family picking up a booster box of Evolving Skies to rip it open. No, you have your collector who's adding it to fill out their collection of the Sword and Shield booster boxes. You have the investor who's really banking on the fact that one day this will be like Team Up and be near a $3,000 box. And they're buying in, yes, it's high, but considerably low in comparison to what it could do in the future. And we're going to see a slowdown of the Sword and Shield market as time goes on. Will this happen with Prismatic Evolutions? Will this happen with Journey Together? Eventually. But these higher starting prices, Scarlet and Violet has taught us that the FOMO exists for a lot of things, but there's certain cards, there are certain products where it's not a FOMO price. That's the new standard. And I think the Pokemon Center ETBs are going to be a part of that. I think new booster boxes are going to be a part of that. The fact that Surging Sparks went up to over $200 and held steady for this long. Maybe a reprint will do something, but I think it's just going to keep it in that new price bracket. The Umbreon, the chase card out of this set, $1,638, is that right? I think it's actually close. $1,480, $1,600. I mean, that's a big difference there, so it kind of gives you pause as to why that's so dramatically different. But, you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt and take a look at it. But we had that boom in May, and everybody thought, wow, we have peaked. And it did come down, and people were feeling comfortable with the fact that we peaked. But Time goes on, and it does increase. So if you're in it for the long haul, you can probably justify spending $500 on a card like this. Wink, wink to those who are interested or holding onto the Greninja EX, holding onto that Pikachu EX, who are going to get a hold of the new Umbreon and hold on to that. I'm tempted to sell off some stuff to try to buy it raw, even if it is going to be a $1,000 card. I'm tempted to make that move. Not because I want to spend $1,000 on one card, but because I see the potential from the history behind us of what that could mean moving forward. So that's playing bigger stakes, higher dollar amounts, but the same premise, the investment strategy. We're only looking at booster boxes, and we're going to speed things up here now that we got an idea of how this is going, what we're looking at, and why we're kind of track record on the Sword and Shield era to see what that means for Scarlet and Violet. Fusion Strike, big spike up. I didn't want to stretch this out to a year because it seems to have tapered off at this $279, but if you look at the most recent data here, it's really getting close to that $500 mark. Pretty insane. However, the Gengar VMAX, that $799 is not accurate there. It's closer to like a $680, yeah, $680 card on that. So this one's gotten out of control price-wise for somebody like me going back and looking at it. Now, do I wish I would have made a big maneuver for $400? At the time, no way. I was priced out. But now, looking forward and seeing what this has done and what that could mean for the Scarlet and Violet era, it's had me redesign my thought process. It's had me rethink, is that Pikachu EX worth it now or within the next 3-6 months, so that way I could see where that goes over time. Am I buying on a bubble? Well, they're in a boom, so there is that risk. They'd be buying on a bubble. You got to be careful of that. But this is a little bit of a track record, a little bit of history, a little bit of a story to tell about what's coming down the line. Pokemon's existed for nearly 30 years, which in business practices means they have a good shot of existing for another 30 years. Just simple business and how it works. Anything you've done is a promise to the future that you can do it. It doesn't guarantee anything, but if you've been a part of this hobby for any period of time, you've seen it, you understand, you know, especially in the last 5 years, that it's been a pretty steady, strong growth. It hasn't just been boom and then people taper off. It's been a boom and then we level off, but people aren't disappearing. They're just adding more. This is why I keep advocating for this idea of 4 sets per year rather than 6. The saturation of collectors, players, investors, scalpers, the saturation is enormous. So if they can have their production upgraded by having fewer sets, but more product over time in mass quantities, they could actually dispel some of the craziness in the hobby and let it be a little bit more of a comfortable slow build for everybody. I don't know if they have interest in that. Giratina, the pull out of this set here from Lost Origin, coming in at a whopping $600. No, okay, close, but $500 still. My gosh, this one, nobody thought $500 was happening here. And then when we saw that Greninja, the Greninja over the Giratina, we thought, okay, maybe something like the Sword and Shield alt arts are going to go up a little bit, and they did, but then they tapered back off. That Pikachu EX, I think these big hitters, and with Prismatic coming on down the line here in just a few days, I think that's what's really making everybody look back and go, wait a second, these were just as hard to pull, and some of these are just as crazy and just as amazing and just as cool, and now they have a little history and some time behind them, and everything's going to rise up. Everything. Even sets that people were not happy about. Chilling Pain, that's all we called it. Evolving Skies wasn't called Evolving Cries until pretty deep into the set. But once Chilling Rain was released, people called it Chilling Pain, that the pull rates were terrible, you couldn't get anything good, and oh man, what's it worth? Well, it's worth holding sealed. Because trying to pull through a $300 box now, $380, $350, $300, that's just loose packs. Okay, so we can't call that. $350 here. Looks like a box with imperfections. We're at a $380 box. Okay, on a $380 box, the chance of you pulling out this same price, $380 Blaziken VMAX, $330, $355, okay, near same price, are almost zero. All right, very slim chance of pulling it out. So the box price meeting the high pull is starting to make sense, that these things should be a little bit more in tandem. Brilliant Stars, another great set. It was the Charizard set for the Sword and Shield era. Got up, what, 267? So not as high as some others, but we're going to see. With enough time, this $290, $300 box is going to grow. It will happen. It's a good set. And with Brilliant Stars in mind, you have that chase card, the Charizard V alternate art. The reason I bring up Brilliant Stars, one, it's part of the video today. Two, I'm giving it away. I think. Maybe. I don't know. This is weird because I want to give away an ETB from the Pokemon Center, a Pokemon Center exclusive ETB. That's going to be dependent on availability. If it's not available, I am defaulting to my own Brilliant Stars ETB to give to you straight out of my collection. So either way, grand prize winner, once we reach 5,000 subscribers, is going to get an ETB. This may be the one. We'll see. We'll see. That little asterisk is getting annoying to explain, so I got to come up with a better way of doing so. Also, I'm going to be giving out 5 Pokemon mystery card lots. I'm trying to give out and share the love a little bit. It's not a difficult task, of course. You need to like on this video, you need to comment down below, and you got to subscribe to the channel. All right, I try to make it easy. We're going for 5,000 subscribers. We're on the way. I mean, we're on the way. We just hit 4,000 not too long ago, and we're already crushing past it, and we're moving on to that 5,000 real quick. I can't wait to be there. So in doing so, you need to also go to this video here and leave an additional comment. That's where I'm compiling all the comments for that 5,000 subscriber giveaway. Back to the topic today. The Charizard V out of Brilliant Stars, the alternate full art here. This is one of the few alternate arts that I was lucky enough to pull on my own. That video is many moons ago now, but it is on the channel. We did have a spike, not quite getting to $200, just shy back in May, and we're almost back to that point at 190. So even when you see a boom and you thought you bought on a big bubble, you know, like a lot of people probably did, you know, time will be your friend. Oh man, that hurts. That stings to see it come down 75 bucks from that high purchase price. But now we've almost fully recovered. And then where to go from there? Well, probably up there. A little bit of a difference here on these prices, and no sales, low sales, and we're at like 175 here. Okay, so redescription might be damaged. You got to look into these things. I never suggest paying this kind of price for any of these products through TCG Player. You need to see it, you need to handle it, you need to discuss it with the seller and be in person, whether it's at a trade show, a card shop, or you know, through a marketplace, something like that, where you can meet up and discuss it. That's probably the safer way to go, or not so safe. I don't know. Some of those could be shady. Be careful out there. This hobby's getting nuts, and you never know who you're going to encounter. Hopefully decent people, and everybody wants to just be honest, but I know there's a lot of scumbags out there. So Silver Tempest was the last of the Sword and Shield boxes to be sold out on the Pokemon Center website, and I thought, did I see Vivid Voltage pop up back up on there? So I don't know, maybe they're not fully done, but of the ones with a trainer gallery, at least, let's put it that way. This one has just been a big spike in the last few months, and it's really this idea that why spend $150 on a Prismatic Evolutions ETB when you could go spend $240 and get a full booster box from a great set like Silver Tempest? And yeah, that's the problem. People are starting to push their collection dollars around in a panic to get anything, so we're going to see this big surge on everything. Will it last? I think it's going to last for a while. We got a big year ahead of us here in 2025, so $250 after shipping on that one. And the Lugia V coming out of there. Very different artwork. Took a big turn. Very dark. Almost this Magic the Gathering kind of vibe. It was somewhat well received, and it was almost split. People were like, wow, this is really cool and epic and interesting, and others just despised it. And I don't know if there's a lot of middle ground. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I personally have an attachment to this card because my first attempt opening anything Silver Tempest, I opened an ETB and I pulled this. So that was super luck, and I should have just been done. I should have never opened another Silver Tempest pack in my life. I don't know how many dollars I spent. I wasn't chasing this anymore, so what was I chasing, right? I don't know. But we do have it at $245. That may or may not be fully accurate underneath. You got to take a look at the differences there and how things are stacking up on the sales side there. Astral Radiance here coming out a little bit lower than the Silver Tempest, coming in that $215 range. Whether that's 100% true or not, 230, 40 range. Okay, it's close second to Silver Tempest. I thought the Machamp out of this one was pretty darn interesting. I think this is the highest chase card out of Astral. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the highest, and it's at 128. I've been trying to pick up this one in a good price range, but before I miss the boat, it might be time, because this is one of the few that hasn't really spiked up crazy. I don't understand why. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's a lot of fun. Really interesting depiction of Machamp, and a really fun one. Out of the ordinary here from the booster box and their counterpart chase card, I just wanted to pull in the Sword and Shield Ultra Premium Collection. This was the UPC from the Sword and Shield era, aside from celebrations within there. And then the next phase of UPCs went on to 151 in the Scarlet and Violet era. So this one has been just steadily climbing. Nice little spike here on the end. That boom in May put us up a bit. People were thinking maybe it won't be back there, but like all things, time. It's just kind of nice to step back and take a look at a full year snapshot on some of these and put a little perspective in order here. 220 is looking like our low on these here altogether for the UPC with the Charizard arts. The promos inside are good. The other ancillary products are fine. The pack selection is great now. At the time, it was okay. But now, knowing what we know about things like Fusion Strike and Evolving Skies, yes, it's considered great pack selection. So take that with a little grain of salt, that in the Sword and Shield era, we were in it. We didn't have to get all excited about Evolving Skies because it was there. It was in all the collection boxes. You could always find Evolving Skies. But now that we're past it, these things all kind of carry each other along the way. We're going to see that in Scarlet and Violet. Maybe Paldea Evolve has a peak with that Magikarp. I don't know. It could. Or maybe in 2 years when we get a hold of a Paldea Evolve, it's going to mean that much more because of the Magikarp. It's hard to say right now, but if trends tend to follow together in an industry, which they almost always do, we can be sure that little things that we kind of bypass now as not being the most special sets of an era might have some intrinsic value later on. So interesting little case study here, fully based on my opinion and my research and my history within the hobby. It's all just me, folks. I'm not some guru. I'm not a financial expert. I'm just looking at this and sharing my journey with you more than anything, and hopefully you're getting something out of it. And if you are, give me a like. Go ahead and comment down below and subscribe to the channel. That's going to also put you in good position to get started on that process for possibly winning the ETB I'm giving away. I explained it earlier in the video, so make sure you go check that out. Also in the description down below, I have some information on that to make sure you're better set up for it. And I'm doing 5 Pokemon mystery card lots as well, so that way it's not just one winner for us reaching 5,000, but a handful. We're going to go with 6 winners reaching that 5,000 mark. So really looking forward to the next phase of this channel and where we're going. Really excited, nervous, worried, I don't know, changing my habits as a collector, moving into Prismatic Evolutions coming up, and Journey Together that was just announced. And let me know your thoughts on those sets and where you're going. I don't have a chance to respond to every message like I used to once upon a time, but I do read through them, and I appreciate all the feedback. So maybe I can at least just click a like that I've read it and let you know. So I'll start doing that a little bit more, I think. I appreciate you being here, and I post 7 days a week. So I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.